How's it going, everybody? We're back working on this Mustang. We actually ended up getting 2 more garage bays in this complex. There's a 2-post lift over there. What we're gonna do is we're gonna actually move this thing over there, jig it up on the 2-post, level it out, and get the work done over there. There's a big exhaust fan in the wall. That way when we're making fumes, we can suck it all out of there. It'll end up being way better for the project. So what we're doing today, we're gonna actually build basically like a mini frame jig. So our plan is to use a laser level and level the car off on the pinch welds, front to back, side to side. Then we're going to weld in some cross bracing here using some square tube on the front, the back, and then we're also gonna triangulate the rear of the car. Now, the reason we're triangulating the rear of the car is because we ended up deciding to re-replace the quarter skins as well as half of the inner frame rails in here. So the tail pan area gets pretty saggy and moves around a lot when you cut all that out. So we're gonna go ahead and triangulate everything up with the car leveled off. That way no funny weight or tweaking going on. That'll be locked in. Then we've just plasma cut some pieces here. We've got essentially 3-inch wide, 1/4-inch flat stock that we bought, and we're gonna fabricate some pinch weld clamps. So we're gonna come in here and drill some holes, get these to go around the pinch weld there. We're gonna use this 2x2 3/16 wall square tube. We're gonna run rails basically as far back to as far forward as we can stretch those pieces, weld the pinch weld clamps to it. Those will be level with the rocker, and then we'll actually do bolt-in cross braces to go side to side from those fore and aft bars. What we're gonna do is bolt that frame that we're building to the 2-post lift. This thing's getting pretty light, and so one of my worries with it being up on a lift is, you know, you bump into it, stand up into it, you could actually tip the car off the lift pretty easily. So I want it to be bolted down to those post arms. It'll give us something to shim and level off of, and you know, the car will be captured to the lift and you can't lift it off. That way we'll have our triangulation inside, we'll have the pinch welds being clamped in and those bars welded in, and it'll go on the lift. It'll also give us some structure that we can actually get the forklift in here with the long forks and not just be on the floor of the car, so that we can move it over to that lift bay. All right, we're back from the future. I'm wearing my customer supplied Mustang hat, and we're a lot warmer today. We've got a lot done on the frame jig. We have the pinch weld clamps done, so we talked about that. We had the 1/4-inch flat bar. We drilled holes with the template and welded nuts on the back, so you just tighten them from this side. That's pinching the pinch welds in all 4 corners. The cross tubes have holes drilled right where the jack stand pads are, and so this is where our lift arms are gonna bolt through. So normally on a 2-post lift where you've got a pad just like this, we're gonna take those pads out and just bolt straight through the lift arm with a washer on the back side. That'll allow the car to be anchored to the lift and not flip off if someone pushes it. We mounted those a foot lower than the fore and aft tubes so that they can stay out of the way of the mechanicals. So one of the things that I wanted to do is allow this to stay on and braced for as long as possible throughout the build. We might even put casters on the bottom of this and just let it be kind of a roll around cart while we're doing the rest of the build. And so I wanted to mount those cross tubes low so that our new subframe can slide in there and be mounted up in place without having to cut or unbolt any bracing that we have in place. So this thing's pretty much done. It's super overkill. The 3/16 tube is super strong. It's leveled off. We've got the laser level up front here. That is gonna be our 0 reference point from now on for the rest of the build. We'll be taking all of our measurements for the core support, for the floors, for the frame rails, everything else will be measured with the car leveled to those tubes. Now that it's leveled off, there's no funky weight on the car. We're gonna do our triangulation in the window frame, in the back of the door frame, and back to the tail pan. So follow along. So we've got the cross braces in, we've got windshield to rockers, B-pillar to rockers, and then we triangulated from the tops up here, back to the rear tail pan, and then back to the rear shock structure there. So we made a bolt-in 1/4-inch plate on the trunk latch bracket. Bolts in there, that way we're able to weld to this. This is a pretty visible area when the car's put back together, so I didn't want to have to grind the welds perfectly there. So we just made that plate to weld to. Everywhere else is just tacked to the car. It's very stiff. We are ready to move it. We are here, we made it. And the plan has come perfectly to fruition. So the car's on the lift, it's shimmed level. We've got our futuristic laser beams being shot here, and the tops of these tubes are dead level all the way across. That's gonna allow us to take all the measurements we want to off this car before we cut something out, and when we put it back together, it goes right where it came out, the same measurements, the same laser point. So it should work out pretty well, and obviously we can stand under it, grind, prep, do whatever we need to do. Major quality of life improvement. We have a huge 4-foot exhaust fan in the wall in this new shop. It sucks in a good way. It's gonna be a huge help in the shop when we're doing things that are smelly, dusty, whatever it is. Bring it all out the back wall, better for our lungs, better for the shop. So we just have to get back to work on all the rust repair, putting all the new metal in, and we're gonna start aggressively cutting things out. We have the pallet from Mustangs to Fear with all of our goodies on it. I got note that it was shipping last week, so we need to hustle. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, ask any questions below that you may have. This is fun, I'm enjoying it so far, so keep watching.